Hey YouTube, MattyDaddy12 here with another ruling video. You guys seem to love these quite a bit, so I'm going to talk to you guys about some more rulings. And in this example, I'm going to talk about pendulum monsters and pendulum summoning. The new card's introduced, the new mechanic is introduced, and a lot of questions coming from this. So I'm going to talk about what your answers to pendulum summoning are, and how some of the cards that you may try to use against a pendulum summon will react and interact with the pendulum summoning mechanic. So you have your pendulum set. We have 1 and 8, meaning that we are able to pendulum summon during our main phase as many monsters as possible. And as you can tell right now, I'm setting with no monsters on board, meaning I have 5 open slots, so I can special summon as many monsters as possible from my hand or my extra deck if one of these pendulum monsters happen to be in the extra deck. You are not able to pendulum summon a synchro monster, exceed monster, fusion monster, because those monsters need to be special summoned via synchro summon, fusion summon, exceed summon. However they are intended to come out, they are not available targets to be pendulum summoned. So the only monsters you can pendulum summon from your extra deck that I know of right now would be any pendulum monster that has been sent to your extra deck and is face up. But like I said, right now we are setting it with a pendulum that is 1 and 8, meaning that the slots 2 through 7 are the levels 2 through 7 are available. I'm going to use my Lightworn Ruler deck right now as an example, and we're going to say that in my hand I am holding 4 cards, and those 4 cards are Plague Spreader Zombie, Lumina, Lightsworn Summoner, Tempest, and Blaster. So I'm going to pendulum summon all of these monsters at one time. As I pendulum summon these, all 4 of these monsters come out at one time. What are my available answers to this? Well, let's say I bring out all 4 of these. If I was to compulse one of these monsters, we'll say the Tempest. We'll say that I play the compulse on the Tempest and put this back to my opponent's hand. Can my opponent now pendulum summon the Tempest back, seeing as how his scales are still at 1 and 8? He cannot for this turn. So compulse may be an answer to the play that your opponent is trying to make at that point, but it is probably not going to be the answer that you want to actually stop the pendulum summoning, because the monster's still in their hand. He will not be able to pendulum summon it back out, but it's still there. And in this case, he could still remove the dragons to then special summon it. The more popular answer that people are talking about is Torrential Tribute. If you were to pendulum summon these 4 monsters out, they all summon at the same time, meaning that my Torrential Tribute would then destroy all 4 of these monsters. So now let's talk about the next card that people are questioning about whether or not it will stop these monsters from summoning. Bottomless Trap Hole. If I bottomless trap hole to a pendulum summon where multiple monsters are coming out, Torrential Tribute would clear all of them, but will Bottomless Trap Hole clear all of them? That is a yes and a no answer. Bottomless Trap Hole will clear all of the monsters that are 1500 attack and above. So in this situation, you would remove the Blaster and the Tempest, but your opponent would still be left with the Plague Spreader Zombie and the Lumina. So Bottomless Trap Hole will be useful. It is a situation where you could take an advantage and plus off of this play, but it will only hit the monsters that are 1500 attack and above. So now some of the other questions. Something like Solemn Warning. Can Solemn Warning stop the pendulum summon of multiple monsters? Now, there seems to be a dispute quite a bit on this, so let's get down to the English of this. Let's get down to actually how the card is worded. Pay 2,000 life points to negate the summon of a monster, or the activation of a spell card, trap card, or effect monster's effect that includes the effect of special summons a monster, quote, monsters, and destroy that card. So, Can Solemn Warning stop the Pendulum summon of multiple monsters? No, it cannot. Solemn Warning, you pay 2,000 life points to negate the summon of a monster, or the activation of a spell, trap, or effect monster's effect that includes the effect of summoning a monster or monsters, and destroy that card. So, Solemn Warning in this situation can only stop one monster. So if they summon 4, Solemn Warning is not an available card to activate. However, if I was to only summon one monster, you could then Solemn Warning the one monster that comes out. So now people are saying, well, wait a second. Why is it that you can Pendulum summon out one monster and Solemn Warning can only stop the one monster, but Solemn Warning will not stop the multiple monsters? But if I activate Soul Charge can target 5 monsters, and Solemn Warning can stop the Soul Charge, even though Soul Charge is summoning multiple monsters. The reason that is because you can pay again, we're going back to the card text. Pay 2,000 life points to negate the summon of a monster. So in an inherent summon like this, the one monster that is coming out, you can stop the summon of a monster. But because 4 of them are coming out, you cannot stop the multiple cards. But again, in the situation of Soul Charge, let's go back to the text. Or the activation of a spell card, trap card, or effect monster's effect that includes the effect that special summons a monster or monsters and destroy that card. So if the effect that gets activated of a spell card, trap card, effect monster's effect that would summon multiple monsters, you can then negate and destroy that card. However, this is not the effect of a monster or monsters. So you are not... these are not effects of these Pendulum monsters that you are using. This is a new game mechanic that you are using to summon these monsters. That's why Solemn Warning cannot stop all 4 monsters coming out at one time. Also, if a question that has came up, say I was to summon out the one monster, a Solemn Warning says to negate the activation and destroy that card. So at that point, if I Solemn Warning the Pendulum summon of a Tempest, do I get to destroy one of the Pendulums? No, you do not. Because again, this Pendulum summon is not being performed by the effect of one of these Pendulum monsters. This Pendulum summon is being performed by the new game mechanic that we have. So, in the same example as Solemn Warning, let's talk about Black Horn of the Heaven, or Black Horn of Heaven. Can Black Horn of Heaven stop the Pendulum summon of multiple monsters, in this case 4? Let's go back to the card text. When your opponent would special summon a monster, negate the special summon, and if you do, destroy it. Again, Black Horn of Heaven can only stop the special summon of one monster. So, in the same situation as Solemn Warning, if your opponent was to Pendulum summon out one monster, yes, you can Black Horn of Heaven that one monster. If they were to Pendulum summon out multiple monsters, no, you cannot use Black Horn of Heaven, because Black Horn of Heaven can only stop the summon of one monster. Because all of these monsters come out at the same time, they are all considered summoned at the same time. So, Black Horn of Heaven cannot stop one summon because multiple summons are happening at one time. One last card that I want to talk about, because this is a card that people were saying that they wanted to try out. Again, in hopes that it would work with this, Thunder King YuGiOh. Thunder King YuGiOh, you contribute to the graveyard to negate the special summon of a monster of one of your opponent's monsters and destroy it. However, again, this is an inherent summon. Thunder King can stop inherent summons the same as Black Horn of Heaven. He cannot stop effects that are summoning out, monsters that are being summoned out through effects. So he cannot stop monsters that are being summoned out using a chain link. But a Pendulum summon is a new game mechanic, not an effect. So this is an inherent summon that brings out all of these, but again, it brings out all of them at one time. Thunder King can only stop the special summon of one of your opponent's monsters. So again, going back to the exact same example that I've made with Black Horn and with Solemn Warning, if I control a Thunder King and my opponent Pendulum summons a single monster. Yes, I can tribute Thunder King to stop the summon of the single monster, but I cannot tribute Thunder King to stop the summon of multiple monsters. So there you go, guys. That's just a short, well, I say short, but it's 10.5 minutes right now. But that is just a video that goes over just some of the examples of how some of the cards that we have been using in the meta these last several months, last several formats, how some of those cards interact with the new mechanic of Pendulum summoning. So there you go, guys. I hope you appreciate it, because I know that I do. And like always, guys, I appreciate it. Subscribe, comment down below, show us how much you love us.